Well, we can say, hey guys, we're starting a new segment starting next week called Janessa's Jewels.
Okay.
Look forward to it.
You can't come up with something? I mean, how about hairstyles?
We'll see where the spirit leads us by the time we get to the end. That's 60 minutes from now.
So I have a quick adjustment since a question recommendation for adjustment for today. Since we don't have a church not a church thing, can we extend the 60-90 seconds? I feel like it's our first time back in like 2 months.
Yeah, you can have mine.
Well, I really just wanted to ask Terry. We hadn't talked to Terry about the move or
yeah, sure.
You know, I feel like people want 2.5 minutes.
I mean, sure, whatever. Do it. I mean,
I understand it not being 20, 25 like it was before, but
I'm not tripping either way.
That I think the followers want to know too.
I can eat up some time. It'll be fine.
No, not even eating up time. That's not even what I'm saying. I'm just saying 60 to 90 seconds is quick, but I did want to ask you about the move. We hadn't talked about that.
Sure.
So that was just something I think the listeners want to know. Our new followers coming next Tuesday. Boom chocolate.
Top of the world. Top of the world. Yeah, top of the world. Top of the world. Yeah, top of the world. Top of the world. Yeah, top of the world. Top of the world. Yeah, top of the world.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to season 3, episode 14. Even though season 3, episode 13 was a long time ago, we are back in the building. Pray for our strength in the Lord, as they say in the old black church. My name is Rudy Wilson. I am a PK. We got Jarion in the building. She's a PK. Maybe I should say everybody's official names. Maybe it's got new listeners who don't know our little nicknames and stuff. So Rudy Wilson, Janessa Rowland, Kellie Lee, she's a PK. Terry Wayne, a.k.a. Terry Weezy, in the building. He's a PK. And this is a platform for PKs. We are literally the worst. Okay, just know that. So let's start with who you want to start with. Let's talk about everybody. Let's start with Miss Honor Roll. She got her hair done. She popping. You feel me?
Right. Listen, makeup done, bob popping.
Well,
you got the hair did.
I had to do headshots today, and so I literally just finished with that and here.
What are the headshots for?
Well, I've been doing a lot more speaking engagements, and I needed some new ones. And then I'm on the Georgia Tech Earth and Atmospheric Science alumni webpage.
Nerd. All right.
And they are updating their, I guess, whatever it is. And they were like, you can submit a new photo. You can like update the information that's on it. So that's what I am really doing this for. So yeah, that. And then, of course, my brother graduated last week.
Congratulations.
DJ.
Yep, DJ got out. He got his bachelor's of arts, I think, in psychology from Rhodes College. So, Kelly, I might send him your way, girl. Just talk to him about, what you do and what you can do in psychology. So that's kind of what I've been doing and working in school, still on the honor roll. Working out, same old. Oh, and the garden. The garden is back in action. So
now we're talking.
Yeah.
Now we're talking. What's coming out this season?
Watermelon.
Mm-hmm.
Peppers, bell peppers, jalapeno peppers, lunchbox peppers. Tomatoes is my first year doing that. Okra. I have mint. Basil, cilantro. Do
you remember the quick pickling jalapeno thing I sent you?
No.
No. Why?
Get off the top of my head.
It makes them sweet like fruit. It's great.
I'm excited. So we'll see, what we can grow this year. It's always an adventure.
That's a lot too in your garden. So
I know.
Can't wait for the pictures.
I will. I let this watermelon decompose last year, and so when I went to go get it ready, it's like all these little seedlings of watermelon that are just growing. So I'm gonna have to, thin them out. But it was pretty exciting to see.
Yeah.
You get way better produce like that when you let them decompose, because all the nutrients from the previous one go into the soil, and then that helps grow the new ones. And
because I planted some seeds, watermelon, and they're not doing as well as the ones from the decomposed watermelon. So it's interesting.
Yeah. Well, most fruit that we eat, like the flesh of the watermelon, is actually by nature meant to be food for the seeds. So like when it decomposes, you're saying, oh, it's ruined. No, it's actually doing exactly what it's supposed to be doing. Oh. It's helping the next generation.
Rudy, you just threw me for a whole loop, homeboy.
I didn't know they had backgrounds on this app.
I was like, did he just teleport?
I was just scared to see how it worked. I'm going to change it back.
A mess.
I like it, though. It's different, but I like your background, Rudy. But yeah, that's all with me. I don't want to take up all the time.
Kellie Leasy?
I don't have much. I'm doing well. It's the end of the school year, so it's my busy time, but I can see the end. So super excited about that. Right. I don't have any too big plans for the summer, so I'm excited to just kind of rest. My relationship is going well. It's progressing. I know. So that's exciting. I know we've talked about my singleness on here for a while now. So it is exciting to report that I have a situation going well. I haven't had to call Rudy.
You haven't had to call me.
I knew to start calling Rudy.
I knew I missed my window.
I may need to call Rudy, just check it out. Hey, do you hear anything?
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, so no, I can't complain. I'm doing well. Happy to be back here. Like you said, it's been a while. But yeah, that's it for me.
Gotcha. Are you wearing pearls for a.k.a. or is it for your man?
I'm wearing pearls because it was right here on the table.
Okay.
As I was getting myself ready. Today was bum day at work. And I took out my braids this morning, clearly. So it was what's right here. Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. Okay. Yep. That's good. Terry Weezy, tell us about the big move and all your other good stuff.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I got lots to tell. Moved to Nashville, or just outside Nashville, and into a town called Lebanon, which they pronounce Lebanon for some reason. I think it's because they don't want to be associated with the Middle East. I think that's the real reason. So they're all like Lebanon, but it's a very small. I refer to it as a small big town, meaning it's got that small town vibe to it because a lot of the buildings are older and they got their little town square and all that. But there's a huge amount of people here for what it is. And we're just trying to, to get established. We've been here for about a month now, but we were in New York for about a week. I was doing some shows. She had a conference. But we're trying to get it together. We almost got Tuscany back up here.
I know. I was like, it's sitting kind of low. Okay. You gotta put it back.
Yeah, no. It's just on its side. No, we're still looking for a couch, and that'll be the last thing. And then once we get the couch in, we can kind of arrange things and get everything together. Took her into Nashville this past weekend for the first time.
Did you go down with big street?
Broadway is the big.
Okay.
That's the big touristy area, which she did not like. Not a fan of Broadway. My wife is not a fan of Broadway. I think the general vibe was too many cowboy hats, too many boots. You know what I mean?
Cowboy hats and a lot of boots. Absolutely.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes. I try to explain to her. I'm like, it's eclectic. There's a whole different vibe. If you go from one place to the other, you can go into one place, it's a rock bar. Another place, it's a, country bar. But obviously there is a lot of country influences here. I think that is when the culture shock really first like hit her. You know, the culture is very different here than it is in Palm Beach County. But I've personally been looking around, and if God wills it, we have a new restaurant up here, some finer dining than they have available right now. I've been talking to a lot of my neighbors, saying what would you like to see come in, you know, and they said somewhere with some decent food. So I'm like, well, I could make that happen.
Right.
So I've been looking around at spaces and, you know, trying to formulate a plot, as they say.
How far is Lebanon from Nashville, like driving?
About 30 minutes.
Oh.
Yeah, 30 minutes to the east. There's another moderately big city between here and Nashville, which is Mount Juliet. That's where you're gonna find like Opry Mills Mall, and you know,
I've been there. Yeah.
Yeah, a little bigger area. But I think I could clean up if I open like a decent Italian restaurant or just Americana or, you know, continental, something like that. I think I could clean up this town, run it like the mob.
Well, I would definitely come and visit.
Well, you really got no excuses. We're about 4 hours from you, so
right. So you're not far right at all.
Nope.
And I enjoy Broadway for a weekend.
You know, I enjoyed being back. I haven't been back to Nashville in probably about 10 years since I lived in Tennessee before, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed seeing all the new stuff and, you know, all the different things that are down there now. They got their stadium finished, and you know, big arenas, and you know, it's a lot different than what I left it. So it's interesting to see for me. The wife, not so much. It's like everything's too loud. It's too loud here. And I'm like, well, this is the tourist. This is where the tourists come.
Right. So yeah, I was excited to hear about your move. So I'm glad it's going well so far.
Yep. And again, if God wills it, there will be a little Terry coming in the future.
Oh.
Yes, I can announce it officially. The wife and I have begun trying. So.
Okay. Terry, well, let me know. I might dust off my crocheting hands and crochet the baby a cute little blanket. So
well, you do owe it to me. I did send you coffee. So.
Oh, that's exciting.
No, I appreciate it. Thank you for your well wishes.
Yeah, man. Congrats on all your new endeavors. You know
well, I'm 42. If we're gonna do it, it's time to do it.
How old is she?
Huh?
How old is your wife?
31.
Oh, that's right. You went younger.
That's the way it should be. You know, every woman should marry a man 10 years older than her. That way the maturity lines up, you know?
That's a topic for another day.
Yeah.
All right.
Speaking of which, Rudy, how are you?
How are you? How's the comedy circuit? How's Florida?
Everything's good. Everything's the same as
podcast official.
No, Florida is absolutely falling apart. I don't know what he's talking about.
Not
Fort Lauderdale's underwater, flooding, and
I'm in Tampa.
Yeah,
and I'm outside right now, so weather's great. Weather's great. Praise God. You know, I mean, I got my hair done. You know,
Okay.
No, you got overshadowed by Janessa. Sorry.
You know, but that's about it, man. You know, I'm happy to be here. You know,
good. Good to see you.
Likewise. Reese, if you're watching this, I'm the only person who's stuck under 90 to 60 seconds.
We had a agreement prior.
But we went well over that, but it's okay. we like 15 minutes in almost. But it's okay though. It don't matter. I don't care. Fuck Reese rule. All right. So
This is
that's
it's a work in progress. Okay.
Speaking of which, let's introduce the audience to our new producer, Risa.
Woo!
We're not introducing her. We have to bring her on here so they'll know.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It's all right.
It doesn't matter.
We have a producer now.
Insert picture of Risa.
And she's right. And she's gonna be mad at us because we have already in the first 15 minutes have not listened to her. But that's on me. I felt like it's the 90 seconds from the last 8 episodes we missed.
Listen, at the end of the day, it's still our podcast. Fuck that.
All right.
We do what we want to do.
All right.
Risa is Rudy's brother.
We don't have to start an insurrection already. It's the first week back.
We do what we want to do. All right. Anyway. All right. So the topic in which how I named it for today is AI useful for the church? So
much
per our producer, we are supposed to start off with AI in the church and start off with defining first, I guess, clear examples of what AI is before we get into its involvement with the church and whatnot. So let's start there. Anybody have a definition?
Yes, I can take this. I have been very interested in this since it's come out. Okay. Essentially, what AI is an artificial intelligence. It is an intelligence that we have designed to mimic human intelligence. Now, it has not gotten to the point where it can actually form its own ideas. Everything you hear about AI right now is internet based, which essentially it's just an algorithm that searches out internet posts and then uses those to recreate with word commands exactly what you want. So if you've heard about the AI art that's coming out now, maybe you've heard about the AI song that's meant to mimic Lil Wayne or Drake. Essentially what it's doing is it's just a search program on steroids. So whenever you type a request in, it's going to search that request billions of times instantly on the internet, find everything it can, and basically give you a compilation of what it thinks you want. So if you say, I want Rudy Wilson holding a cabbage, it's going to search cabbage, it's going to search Rudy, it's going to search Wilson, and it's going to try and hone in on exactly what it thinks you want.
But isn't that just Google or whatever?
It is Google, but it's a more specific type. It's using that algorithm to compile, not just search for one thing, but compile all the search results and give you exactly what you want.
So I think that's part of it for sure, Terry, for sure. Mm-hmm. I did, some Googleization, and according to IBM, mm-hmm. in the most broadest sense, their artificial intelligence combines computer science and robust data sets to enable, I can't speak today, problem solving. So I think based off of that definition, that, includes more things. You're right, Terry, that includes Google, that includes your Siri's, Alexa's, Cortana, your Google Maps, that includes facial detection, or recognition, that includes autocorrect when you're typing, that includes chat boxes. And I think moving forward, what we're starting to see is like AI is able to kind of do some of the tasks that humans do. For instance, AI can approve loans within seconds. Whereas with us, we would have to collect different data sets, maybe some bills, your social security number, look at your credit score, do, crunch some numbers. That's now done instantly. So AI is actually really, really powerful, or it can be really powerful, which is, I think, why it's a big deal now. AI is not new. It was the father of AI, John McCarthy. He kind of came up with this term back in 1956. But it's taken some time to get to where we are today. If you kind of, and I'm not about to go through the timeline of AI, but there's been small progression from 1956 to like 2002. From 2002, that's when we kind of started seeing things pick up. And even I would say within the past year, we've seen it pick up even more with what you were saying, Terry, like that Lenza art app and the songs being able to just kind of make anybody sound like anybody on anybody else's songs. Those are kind of some of the things we've been seeing lately. So given kind of this broad back and forth, me and Terry have had this broad conversation on AI. We want to talk about today how it's going to be, how it can impact the church. Because one thing I think we all kind of have to realize is that AI is going to impact everybody in some way. And it's just, I think the conversation that we're kind of having today is how. And is it impactful? Is it helpful? Is it negative? Is it going to be hurtful? And it's going to be interesting to kind of hear everybody's perspectives.
Well, I know one thing for sure. If I can't smoke on this podcast, neither can Terry. Because that was the rule for our producer.
Oh, well.
Yeah, we are letting our producer down.
Hey, these are legal. What
listen,
can I tell you?
Shit, mine is too. What you talking about? Listen, I didn't make the rules. We said we was gonna hire her, so everybody need to abide.
All right, it's part of my persona. It's fine. As the worst one of the worst ones.
No, but I guess my whole thoughts on the AI thing. I mean, I definitely am aware that AI definitely has been in existence. For me, I first heard the term on video games, like on Madden and college football and stuff. Like you can go to the individual players and you can boost their AI settings, or even like for me, and when I was in college, we used to play the game. When we used to play against the computer, we had got so good at beating it. Like in the football game, we would go to the computer's AI settings and boost theirs up just to make it harder for us. So like that was my initial, even hearing something about AI. I don't even know if I knew what it stood for back then. I just knew AI settings mean you can make a nigga better. You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, that's not real AI, but yeah.
Can I? Is it? I mean, can I? Okay, thank you. So that was my first experience as far as even like hearing the term AI or whatever. So now I haven't like followed its progression. I didn't even really consider even some of the things that you said, Janessa, as far as auto text correct and all that stuff like that. Like I wasn't even really considering all that type of stuff. But and I guess for me, I never really even thought about AI from video game college till now, where it's more of a talked about thing. So I didn't really follow its progression, but now it has more of a stigma, at least that what comes across my plate. It's just more or less like swapping voices, like you can get Biggie on your verse, like on your track, like I think Timbaland or somebody did. You know what I'm saying? Even though, and it wasn't like an old verse he made, it was like brand new lyrics and everything, but they can make it sound just like Biggie or whatever. So like that's and then even like the different video games, the virtual games, the going and putting on the goggles, go to a concert, all that stuff. Like I've been hearing about all that type of jazz, and to me, when it comes down to the church, I don't see really past it being just another form of Zoom, like or watch people watching on Facebook Live, like how we kind of got away from attending church because of the pandemic and watching it virtually. To me, I think AI is just gonna make it an even more lit virtual experience, as opposed to it. And I'm not saying that's good, bad, or indifferent. I'm just saying, like, because if what people are saying to me, like when you're like, yo, you could like be at this concert or whatever the case may be, and I don't know if they're seeing other avatars, or I don't know if they're seeing, I don't know what they saw, but they're seeing people, they're interacting, whatever. So I'm saying if you could do that from home, you could still have after church conversations with your homegirl, but it's just y'all, you know what I'm saying, in the virtual. You feel what I'm saying? Like people gonna do that. You feel me? Like, and the buildings are gonna be empty. So they're gonna that's gonna be a different reason to have that real estate. So like for me, like that's where my mind immediately goes when I think about AI in the church. Obviously, once again, I wasn't even considering the auto text or whatever like that. So I'm sure there's ways as far as maybe giving virtually or whatever, it could kind of maybe help that way as well. But as far as the pandemic doing one thing, this would top that. Like put the goggles on and you still be able to. Yeah,
Janessa, you want to take this or should I?
It'll be.
You can go. Well, Kellie, do you have anything you wanted to say initially?
If Terry wants to address that point.
Well, he's talking about virtual reality, which is a different thing. AI is an artificial intelligence that can create new things based on things that have already been created. So when you talk about AI in the church, it's not about putting on goggles and being in a virtual reality situation.
But I feel like that's where it'll go, though.
I mean, sure, we already have that right now. If you own an Oculus, you can go to church virtually.
Yeah, but only the gamers really know that. But imagine if like somebody like my mom or somebody was aware of something like that. Like, would they be like, "Oh, I could skip this little Sunday, put these goggles on"? But
the difference is AI again is creating artificial. It's artificial intelligence. It's creating new things based on things that it's research that we've already done. Right. So what you're talking about AI in the church is like, would you want to listen to a sermon that was written by a computer? That's going to be the big crux of it. Because the one thing that AI can't do right now is feel human emotions. It has no emotions. It can't create emotions. That's the one thing it can't do. That's what people like, Elon Musk, and that's what they're afraid of is once.
But imagine if you can mix all your favorite preachers together.
Right, but it's hollow. There's no emotion behind it. It would just be based on things they've already said compiled together.
Hey y'all, sorry to interrupt, but we have a few church announcements. Follow us on Instagram at The Worst Ones PK. New content coming soon. We also have a TikTok at The Worst Ones PK. No content yet, but continue to check us out. If you when you listen to our podcast, you can find us on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, wherever you find your podcast. Just make sure you type in The Worst Ones Podcast and you'll find us. And when you get there, make sure you like, you comment, you subscribe, and you share. Thank you to our 500,422 followers. We love you so much. Now, back to the show. I guess to me, when I think of artificial intelligence, and I don't know if I'm way off, I think of robots. So I think that's
iRobot too.
Yeah, that's
right. So yeah, I think of robots, and so even to your point about I guess taking out the work involved in pastors creating a sermon on their own. And so I remember growing up, or even now, like watching my father have, the Bible and different texts that he's pulling together to create a sermon. The difference between what's wrong, Rudy?
Man, still smoking.
Oh,
yeah, I'm gonna finish.
The difference between that groundwork that it takes for a pastor to pull a sermon together versus him being able to put in, Philippians 4:13 into what is it called? CBT script. What's it? It's some little thing. CB something. Him being able to put it into, this AI platform and it spits out a sermon for him. And so instead of, like you said, AI lacks human emotion, and so my fear, one of the things, just to your point, is that taking out the groundwork that pastors have to put in order to deliver a message, and then that passion behind it. Because we've talked about before, fake pastors who say that they call and Jesus ain't called them to do nothing, and they can't organize a sermon. They can't interpret a scripture to save their lives. But now they have this system that can do it for them, and then, they can create this fake atmosphere in the church and put on their preacher voice and, and now call people to the word and someone else has written this sermon for you, where we know probably we've seen all of our fathers sit and do the work to create a sermon. So I think that's one thing. And then on a far kind of probably out of the box thinking, I thought about robots being the pastors of a church and robots giving sermons. That thought crossed my mind as well, even though I know that's strange, but I didn't.
What if they can preach their ass off?
It doesn't matter.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. What if they give you that word you need?
No, you're replacing the connection between God and man with an artificial construct that we have created. So we're basically creating a roadblock between us and God. And now you're going to use that roadblock in the church. That doesn't sound right to me.
I was going to say too, Kelly, to your point, we've kind of seen to a certain extent what you're saying, not necessarily in robots. Because I was thinking about iRobot, and I also was thinking about the Stepford Wives, because they looked very much human, but they were very much robots. And so I was like, what if it is it looks like the past?
They were hot robots though. So.
But I was also thinking about, y'all remember, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but it wasn't at Coachella that they had the hologram Tupac show up. That could be a whole situation too, where you got these holograms preaching the word. It looks just like your pastor. Say the pastor is on vacation in the Bahamas. He couldn't make it back, so he sends his hologram instead. Because how many times have y'all seen or been in a situation where, the pastor's not there, I'm not going.
I'm not going. Absolutely.
And so, it could be a situation where now, the pastor's not going to physically be there, but his hologram or robot sound just like him, looks like him, like you said, preaching the word down.
Do his little point at a certain time when he pointed. He may do like a little point when he preaches. He do all that.
All his mannerisms,
all
the mannerisms, facial expressions,
sweat tile, all that.
So
too much.
That could be, something that AI technology eventually gets to. And then also I was thinking about, like you were talking about, Rudy, enhancing the church experience, whether it's virtual, because I do think even with the the VR, there is still AI technology involved in making that, the virtual reality world work. So it still all falls under the same umbrella. But what I was thinking about, Rudy, was like, okay, say your choir only got 10 people in it. You can make some tracks.
Mass choir.
Tasha Cobbs and Kiara Sheard, all Clark sisters.
Now we talking.
All of sisters, Mary. And now you got the super choir to sing with the 10 people who, you might have at your church. And now you got this elevated music experience. You know what I'm saying? Like, it really could. I know we're talking out the box, but it really could go there.
All this money you got to pay musicians, man. Get some fake musicians over there. That's gonna funk it. I can save money for the church. I'm paying all the $250 to each person or whatever it is, $2,500. And listen, I can save that money, whatever the little computerized is. Have that little band over there rocking, choir singing, fake choir. Get a little fake preacher up there.
You can have your hologram choir. Also, we kind of saw it during the pandemic. Did y'all see when choirs would have each person sing and then they would mesh it together?
Yes.
Make it a choir.
Yes.
It's we're kind of talking, like I said, in the out of the box context, but to a certain extent, some of this stuff is happening on a much smaller scale, or not as advanced scale. But I just think there's lots of different ways that AI could impact the church. And I agree. I don't know if it's all good, because I know also sometimes, and I'm sure y'all's parents have done this too, at least I know with my dad, he'll preach sermons that people don't want to hear. He preaches part of the Bibles that, a lot of these mega pastors might kind of skip over. And I don't know how AI, I'm not saying AI can't, I mean, it can make a sermon about anything, but when I just feel like people would use it to kind of talk about the happy stuff, the stuff that people want to hear. I think that's part of being a pastor, that conviction to preach the whole Bible, even if it's not the fluff and the happy and the good times and the blessings and the prosperity and stuff like that. I think that first of all, you get your messages, what you're going to preach. That's between you and your relationship with God. Like y'all said, AI doesn't have that.
But not anymore. They just gonna type in something and it's gonna give them a message.
Exactly. So then it's like pastors may get lazy, busy, they traveling, they're focusing on other things, because now all you got to do is put in John 3:16, Genesis 1:1,
Well, it's
Psalms
the same thing
23.
with students. Students, this has been a big problem with students using chat GBT, which is what I think you were referring to. Yeah. Using these AI bots to create their work for school. Well, the problem is, yeah, that sounds great, but you're not learning anything. You know what I mean? You're not growing because you're just taking your burden and putting it on this computer program instead. You're losing the human connection.
And I guess my question is, how many variations of one essay can chat GBT, whatever it's called, do? So if there's okay, like I said, so me and you, the four of us are in class together, and we all had the same assignment about the Constitution, and we type in the Constitution and whatever, and those keywords that we want to do an essay on. Is it going to give us all the same essay, a similar essay?
Nope. Okay. If we put in the exact same keywords, then yeah, you probably get something similar. But one word variation is going to have a ripple effect that's going to create completely different essays.
Okay. That's what I wondered too. Because I do know, like you said, students have been using that for their schoolwork and for essays and cheating the system. Like you said, and they're not really learning anything. But I'm like, there has to be a space where, like you said, like I was, I work in a school. I was talking to a teacher earlier today, and she could tell where the student had just copied and pasted the question into Google, and first thing that came up, and kids been doing that since we've had Google, but now with this upgraded model where you put in a few extra words and it'll give you, a whole different essay 50,000 times. Now that's scary.
Well, that's what it is. Yeah, and we're not talking about 50,000 times. We're talking about 50 million times. It's literally an infinite. It's like when you think about all the information that's available to these programs, and they suck up as much as possible. You're talking about the last 30 years of human existence everywhere, all over the world, all at once. And it has access to everything.
Right.
Well, I will say, I didn't know what is it called?
Chat GBT, yeah.
GBT. So part of the way I got to this topic, I was talking to my sister because I didn't even know that was a thing. Y'all know I'm in grad school and I'm slaving over papers.
Yeah.
Slaving over papers. And I was telling my sister and my dad, I was getting upset because I would submit an assignment at 11:58 and it was due at 11:59. And I would have a grade by 8 a.m. And I was like, so is the professor just up overnight, just, reading and grading papers? And my sister was like, girl, no, they have AI that literally grades papers. It checks for, of course, plagiarism. But you can literally put in different criteria for what to check for, and it will spit you out a grade. And so now it's like, you don't have to write the paper, and the teacher don't have to grade the paper either. All of this is just done by AI. And so, of course, I was like, well, maybe I need to become a professor if that's all it takes.
But it's like you said.
It's funny you mentioned that. South Park did a whole episode just on that. The teachers.
Yeah, shows like that have never died. But but it's a gradual progression, like you said, Janessa. Because I'm even thinking about when we first started really using calculators, even from a regular one to a TI-83, whatever. Like, you know, your math teacher will be so on you about, but no, I want you to show your work. I don't want you just to rely on the calculator because I want you to act, you know what I'm saying? So even back then, that seemed so minute because that was still a little pushing little buttons and a little digital, you know, numbers coming up. But now that it's getting more and more advanced, it's starting to seem scary now. But to your point, like I said, it's been a gradual progression, literally this whole time.
And then like something else I was thinking about with the sermons or the papers, like how do they who gets the credit? You know what I'm saying? Like how does it work in terms of references and resources? And
they're just gonna say God gets the credit. They just leave it.
That's a little bit scary.
Well, I mean that's
here's my
sermon
created from chat. What's it called?
GPT. Right. 50 million sermons on chat.
Right. Here's the sermon that I created from.
But but think about this though. Not even about them creating the sermon. What if your human pastor can create the sermon, but let's just say like he ain't really got that sauce when he preach. But he can take his sermon and put it like a little TD Jakes voice on it or something, or you know, or one of your favorite preachers, and let him deliver it through that as a come on now.
It's not.
That's
not it.
Like you said, or you got sister so and so at the church can't sing a lick. Just like instead of auto tune, we gonna AI her little Shirley Caesar voice. You know what I'm saying? And she gonna sing the church down. You feel me? I have AI ushers because they're gonna be on point. It's gonna be we ain't gonna never have to worry about programs running out of somebody not paying attention.
Rudy might have stumbled backwards into a point here, which is you know, God created man created AI, so there will be people that will make that argument that God literally created AI through us, you know, because that is a point that's been made before. Anything we create is secondhand created by God because God created us. No, but you're losing the human connection, which is the whole point of all of it.
But we're already there with social media. That's what I'm saying. We might as well just keep going.
It doesn't matter. There's no AI heaven. You know, it doesn't exist.
We don't need an AI heaven. If an AI can give me a 5-word, I'm talking about that bless my soul. It's prophetic and everything, and I go and that thing bless my life. You think I'm gonna care where it came from? I've heard words, and I get everybody's afraid of a computer and the thing might take over and start casting spells and shit and all this other type of stuff. I get it, but I'm just saying, because computers, they start doing their own thing at some point. It may
they don't. That's the point.
It may flip on us and do something else.
Terry, have you not seen iRobot?
I've seen iRobot, and no, it's not.
But the point I'm making is, if AI is going to be in the church, I mean, everybody's going to want it everywhere outside of just say the pulpit and stuff like that. Now, people they may accept the little mass choir. I ain't gonna lie to you, especially if you already got a small choir. Somebody may accept that, but they definitely gonna want the word, from a human being. But to the same point that y'all been making, as far as if we get AI, pastors gonna get lazy, or pastors only gonna preach prosperity, stuff like that. Them niggas who doing that already doing that anyways. They already if they're gonna be lazy with AI, they lazy right now. If they only preaching prosperity with AI, they doing it right now.
What's going to happen when an AI program decides to preach prosperity?
But that's what I'm saying. Even if, and I'm not saying your dad would, Janessa, but even if your dad decided to just say use AI, he still would make sure that the sermon that's coming out of that is the shit people don't want to hear. You know what I'm saying? Like, because that's who he is. If he's controlled, you know what I'm saying? So I feel like if whoever got a hold of it, they would still use it for whatever they're doing without it. You know what I'm saying right now, realistically. And I'm not really pushing for it. I'm just kind of just joking around.
I definitely think, AI could be beneficial in a good way. But I think the fear or the concern is how many people are going to use it in the right way, or how many people are going to be like, oh, I don't have to do this anymore. We can do that. Then we gonna do that. Let's do that instead of this. But people, my dad's old school. He's gonna be preaching down the same way he's been preaching down forever. And then it kind of I guess like we got a whole new generation coming up who is not experiencing church the way we experience church. Mm-hmm. And this is the next generation of pastors, deacons, minister, music, all of the above. And so they're coming up in a time where AI, is the norm. And so kind of after, our old school traditional pastors, preachers, whoever go on to glory, AI church or might be the future. And so that's interesting. Like I don't even know, I'm kind of just going off the top of my head. I'm just like, what does that look like? And
it's already gradually going there because like I said, you can give on text to give or give online, you know what I'm saying? Like all these different little things that's separate. Jesus, Terry. Mute yourself, Lord have mercy. But all of this is separating that human interaction. Like I said, even with the pandemic, we've been able to watch it on Facebook Live or YouTube Live or Zoom. Like all of that is, what I'm saying, it's pulling back from this. Even like pastors now, they'll go live on their IG and stuff like that to be able to speak to the people throughout the week. That's still,
that's just communication.
But we still have tools already that's creating that separation before we even get to the fact of creating an entire robot or hologram or whatever the case may be. Like that same gradual progression that she spoke about, like it's already happening. So like, what I'm saying? Like I to her point, I think it probably will eventually get that way, especially with how this generation is. Like they don't care about the human interaction. They like, let's keep separating virtual. Let's do that.
And I was just really thinking about how we were talking about students using the GBCT, whatever it is.
ChatGPT.
What about the theology students right now who are using the CTGB white papers?
Right. You feel me?
Right.
Absolutely. And so like they're literally coming up right now, comfortable with the, the artificial intelligence theologian papers that they're writing, and maybe even the sermons that they're preaching in seminary, It might be happening right now. We just not really.
It is happening. I mean, you can probably guarantee that it's happening.
What you should be afraid of is if you get a hologram doctor come try to do your surgery or something, or deliver your baby. That one you should be scared.
Again, we're losing a plot here because Instagram stories, TikTok, virtual reality, holograms, all these are just forms of communication. That's it. It's the horse and buggy versus the car, but it's just communicating for you. AI is creation. It's creating what you're doing, not distributing, all those other things are just distributing things that you created. Just because it's a hologram of Tupac doesn't mean it's not Tupac's music. It is. Right. No. It's just creating a different form of communication for it.
Yeah, I'm clear on that. I just think
AI would be the creation of new music.
Right. That's what I think. I think all of this is leading up to it. Is what I'm saying. This same slow progression that we've been on. I think all of this is leading up to ultimately that.
And it's to me, it's dangerous. To me, it's very, very dangerous. Even in a spiritual sense, to have a computer program telling you, how you should think about God, how you should think about things that it will never understand or comprehend or even be able to compute. Because again, they can't compute human emotions.
I think that's also a good point, Terry. I didn't think about, yes, AI is very smart, for lack of better words. But if pastors, preachers, whoever are just going off of the AI sermons, are they going to go back and make sure that, the translation is right, the time frame and what was the contextual, what was going on back in that time actually makes sense what the sermon said? Like, I'm a little concerned, like how correct to a certain extent are these messages going to be? And are people, i.e. the ministers and preachers, going to care enough to like do the work to be like, oh yeah, the Latin Hebrew meaning and the context and the centurium empire during this time, and women culture in this time, all of this plays, and you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. And if it doesn't, will that lead people, not even lead them astray, but like, is that wrong information that people are going to be getting? Is that going to impact how they understand the Bible? And
I feel like that happens now, though. That's what I'm saying. I feel like
I think this, as I guess Terry's trying to, like, this is on like a larger scale. So if what's the thing called? CBT?
CBT.
Chat GBT,
right, can produce this sermon. And as Janessa was saying, the preacher doesn't go back and fact check it, then they are absolutely giving out incorrect information that impacts the congregation. And they make it, and again, they know they didn't write it. And so I'm sure they're going to put on a good preacher pastor voice. They're going to practice in the mirror. They're going to memorize this whole sermon where the things that they're saying aren't true or factual. Because I guess, Terry, going back to your explanation of what AI is, it is pulling together billions of different documents or whatever from the last 30 years and compiling it into this one document. But who says that these different things that they're pulling it from, different articles, videos, whatever that they're pulling this information from, is true? So then how do you, again, we're creating a world where we're taking out doing the work and doing the research yourself. So then you don't even know how to do the research to fact check what it is that you've received in GBT scan, whatever it's called. So I guess
it's a lie. Any pastor that allows a computer program to write their sermon for them feels like a lie to me. Because when you go listen to a sermon, you're supposed to hear what that person felt, what they were impressed by, what the message that they were given. And it's just a lie. It's a lie that's just being.
But what about humans right now that have other humans that write their sermon?
Again, that's a lie.
I think that's problematic too. I think the concern with AI is if it expands worldwide, it can be more influential faster than what it is now. You might have to go to that person's church to hear their wrong message. Well, now we're in a place where, virtual church, but just 5 years ago, you would probably have to go to somebody's church. Virtual church wasn't like it is now.
Mm-hmm.
Now, virtual church is everywhere. And then you throw in AI, and if millions of pastors and preachers are doing it worldwide, now you're influencing a whole generation, a couple of generations, just at a faster rate.
Well, it already has gone worldwide, and that's why a lot of nations' leaders are concerned that AI could bring about World War III, just because if they decide to say, I don't know, make their own version of Joe Biden, who says nasty things about Putin, and their own version of Putin that says nasty things about this, like, it could really spark a conflict,
I agree. And I think
reality.
that's the other part that I think, kind of touching on what Kellie was saying. Yes, you can create these quote unquote good things, but you can also create these bad things. And that's one of the things going on with AI now. You have these like fake accounts pushing out fake news or incorrect news. So is AI, when it's, going through these thousands of data points and data sets, are they taking the fake news?
Right.
Like, how does the AI know that, oh, this isn't real, this is real?
Right.
And then come up with these sermons? Or is it just taking all these data sets and coming up with the sermon using fake stuff that's not right, that's put out there intentionally? You know what I'm saying? Like, intentionally to misinform people. I don't know.
Yeah, I still think it's just up to the consumer. You know what I'm saying? Like to make sure that you're fact checking and doing, and reading, studying for yourself and all that. Because no, I'm serious. Because like you can do that. You can deal with all of these same issues without AI. You feel what I'm saying? You can have somebody who don't really do their due diligence, or even they click on the first link that they see on Wikipedia or Google or whatever the case may be, and they may take, it may be some false information in there. So I'm saying like all of this can be an issue now. It can be a worse or faster issue with AI, sure, but
it can be successful.
But I'm saying, all of this, it's just like the calculator. You feel what I'm saying? Like kids start knowing less and less how to actually do math. The more and more calculators got advanced, or the more and more your phone had a calculator, whatever like that. So I get any technology like that even with people being able to do DoorDash or anything, like it makes people, that whole human interaction thing you're talking about, it makes people not go out to restaurants as much and whatever, because people just like to use technology for their convenience. So I get those effects. You feel what I'm saying? But I just think whoever you are as a human, like you're going to operate that way regardless of what is created. It's just like when PPP loans or whatever came out, like people who was about that life took them. People who wasn't didn't. You know what I'm saying? And it was available to everybody. It just depends on just who you are. And I just think that's how everybody gonna react to AI regardless.
Well, what you're talking about, everybody doing their own due diligence. If everybody did their own due diligence, Scientology wouldn't be a religion, but it is, and it's a big one now because they prey on the ignorant and the weak.
Yeah, I ain't got nothing to do with that. Janessa, real quick, we were supposed to talk about this. Was there outside of what we talked about? Was there something specific that you and your dad had? Remember you said you and your dad had a conversation about AI? Was it?
Yeah. I mean, we were kind of talking about this that we're talking about now, about the sermons, about the music ministry, and just in general, how AI can be used in good ways and it can be used in bad ways, and just. How do you navigate that? Because like you said, stuff is happening now. It's been progressing, but how do we safeguard this transition? And I think part of the scary part, or I don't know, for lack of a better word, we'll just go with scary, is we don't know how this is going to pan out. We don't, like you said, everybody's like, oh, iRobot, that's not going to happen. But what if it did? What if AI did evolve to a point where, it gets its own mind and starts doing crazy things? Like, we can say, oh, we can do this, that, and the other, but we really just don't know. And so how do we instill, precautions as we transition to this, new AI lifestyle, whatever you want to call it, so that it doesn't go bad? And I think just seeing the way, the world has been handled recently, and I'm not even going to say the whole world. Let's just look at the United States. We can't even get gun control. You know what I'm saying? We can't even, during the pandemic, we couldn't as a country get on board with what's the best way to protect people. You got some people open, some people closed, some people masked, some people, it's like, we already handle things horribly here. And now you want to throw in AI and just kind of hope for the best, or think that, we're going to do right.
I think Janessa's on to something here, because all AI is it's a tool we created, but that tool is going to exponentially exaggerate our qualities, both our good qualities and our bad qualities. And the big problem here is when you when you exaggerate our bad qualities with a tool this powerful, you get some really, really bad shit.
Well, if y'all want to come to Rudy Wilson Baptist Church, we're going to have AI everything, okay? We're going to have virtual preaching, singing, everything. No, all right.
Robots taking over.
Right. Oh, that's what's up.
Bad robot too, in a little body contract.
And I'm talking about
She gonna be the leader of the praise team.
right.
Man, too, body.
Swaying.
They gonna do TikTok dances too.
Right.
Well, quick, don't forget to mention.
Right.
Don't forget to mention our new segments that will be coming up, which is Janessa's Jewels.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
And then-
I'm gonna
and
try.
then
I don't know why y'all think I'm deep because I'm really not, but I'm gonna try to come up with some jewels.
And then
The history you gave us today, the person who invented AI in 1950 something.
yeah, she came up with stuff. She had facts. She was ready to go.
Look, I'm all for it.
And then I'll be explaining the difference between cool church and honky church. So
Okay. All right. Well, Kellie Lee, let us know where we can't find you.
Correct. So even after 2 months of not recording, I am still private. But you can look me up at Princess Kels 51. It's a really cute picture, I think, of my profile pic is really cute. So, come check me out.
All right.
she's taken now. It doesn't matter. She didn't even go. Yeah.
Found a man without even having to go unprivate.
Listen, exactly. The Lord will do it, won't he?
Well, maybe I need to go private because I am definitely single. But
You hear that? Hit her up, fellas.
Right.
yes,
At
you can
Rihanna.
shoot me a DM. My page is public, but you can find me at JRihanna_. We have fun over there. I have been posting, a lot more
In the gym.
so check it out.
Gotcha.
Yeah, shoot her some DMs. I mean, she got some attitude, but you can deal with it.
I do not. I am an angel, precious lamb of God.
At Terry Wayne Comedy on all social media platforms. And as we always say, the book is available on Amazon right now. Unclaimed Ashes. Get your copy today before they still there.
Read your copy once you get it.
Yeah, if actually don't read your copy because then you'll leave.
Right.
You got to get the audiobook so Kellie can just listen to it.
Right. That'd be great.
I'm not doing an audiobook. It's a travesty. Why don't you just spit on the Bible while you're at it?
A year from now, he's going to get an audiobook. Watch.
Right.
Oh, if there's money, yeah, I'll get it then.
He gonna do it.
When there's money involved, sure.
Terry, I will read your book when I no longer have to read textbooks.
Okay.
That's fair.
I don't know when that day comes. Are you also going to quit when you finish reading it?
No.
Okay, then read it away. We
But
gotta
hopefully
have
I'll
you
be
new
cool
hairstyles.
Next May, so maybe by next May I'll have the book read.
Well,
Next
maybe
year.
by next May you'll start calling it the Dean's List instead of honor roll. But
Maybe.
Well, we are the worst ones, guys. We hope you enjoyed this episode. We will be back.
we definitely lived up to the title this time.
Next week.
Top of the world. Top of the world. Yeah, top of the world. Top of the world. Yeah, top of the world.